Hey, good afternoon everybody. I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Hope all of you are doing well today. This will be the last one before Christmas, as this won't come out until probably Christmas Eve in the morning. Been doing a little reading this afternoon. Man, it's just a great day to be lazy. It's here in the south, it's a big system of storms and stuff, although we haven't had many storms where I am, but it's been gray. Actually, it's been gray for about 4 days. Let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 or 5 days. That's why the boring videos with the boring background, because I just haven't been able to get out. You know, it's so gray outside. But anyhow, I'm sure it'll clear up soon, and I love this weather anyway. I got plenty of sun back home. I've thought about this subject for a while, and before I start, I'm going to say once again, you know, we're all different. We all come to living a different lifestyle for different reasons and different purposes, and we come to them in different ways. Now, it just so happened for me, and I was fortunate, as soon as I started cleaning up a little bit, there became an awareness in my mind that it wasn't all about food. Even though I know I'm obsessive about the food at sometimes and it's in the forefront, I believe in our health and life as a holistic endeavor. And if we're just, you know, if the food itself is not going to get you there. It wasn't meant to get us there. I was talking with a friend last week. He's a really good friend of mine. We go to lunch every so often. I usually just sit and have club soda or something, or we sit and talk in the office. And now he's aware of this. He's a fairly healthy person. He doesn't eat like we do, but he's talked about his situation. He has a couple of very stressful situations in his life, and he's a very aware person, and he knows he has had some major issues with his digestion over the last few years, and at first he started going to doctors and he tried all this and that, but he reads a lot. He's a big Dr. McCullough guy. Can't blame him. I mean, you know, in other words, everybody doesn't do what we do. He's not the point, but him having all these intestinal problems, stomach problems from the stress, and he's basically told me that's what it is. I mean, he has had a couple of doctors that are pretty good down in Costa Rica that are, you know, there's one Cuban doctor. I actually went when I sliced my thumb open, and he went for something else a couple of years ago, and the doctor actually asked him about his diet. But anyhow, my friend came to this conclusion on his own. He knows this. He's dealing with a very bad situation that's out of his control, and it just kind of it's been causing him ongoing stress for several years, and it's manifested itself physically. And I think there's a lot of people like that. Even, you know, in this raw vegan world, raw to four world, whatever we do, you know, we're kind of networking with like-minded people. Like-minded in a lot of senses, but still with a lot of differences. And one thing that I notice is it's all, I see people that are meticulous. Well, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat that, and they're so specific and about the cleanliness of their food, and they've constantly got stress in their life. And I'm not saying, well, if you've got stress, that you're not getting any benefit from what you're eating, but you're greatly reducing your overall health. Because I mean, I knew this years ago. I've been told, I've known this for a long time, that you know, we want people. It's always about, you know, you should stop smoking, you should stop drinking, you should stop eating that bad food. But it's been shown that stress is harder on the body than any of those things. And if we are allowing stress to get to us, it's almost like, to me, the best way I can explain it is stress is like an ongoing thing that just chips away at your health. Chip, 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 chip. You're probably, unless it's something really severe or some incident, you know, that's horrid, it's probably not going to the stress is probably not going to be acute. It's not going to immediately, you're not going to have some stress that's just going to all of a sudden, you know, like manifest itself in some sort of disease, illness, or feeling bad. It's something that's going to chip, 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 chip away at your health all the time. And to a large extent, I think it can even negate some of the other healthy habits we have. I don't know. That is something that is very unique and very personalized for individuals, how you deal with stress. I did it very easily. Like I say, I think I was kind of lucky that I kind of was getting an awareness in a lot of different areas in my life at one time, so it wasn't just the food. I mean, as soon as I switched my way of eating to a plant-based lifestyle, pardon my language, just a lot of shit left me. It just, some of the negative thoughts, a lot of the negative vibes, just a lot of the way I process things, the way I thought about things. And very, very early in my journey, I had always been somebody that let stress get to me. Not in a bad way, because I live a pretty good life, but I'd let little things get to me, and I would fret over them, and I would get so worked up, and I would lay around. I remember in my life quite a few periods I went through. I was just talking with my mom about smoking the other day, and she smoked years and years ago, probably been 40 something, no, since before I was born, 50 years. But I was telling her, it was cigarettes, when I had stressful situations, even as recently as 3-4 years ago. Well, a little bit longer. No, yeah, about 3 or 4 years ago. 3 years ago, was I still smoking? Yeah, 3 years ago I was still smoking, but I wasn't necessarily that. But anyway, point is I've chain smoked. I've literally lit just one off the other, off the other, off the other. Sit and smoke a pack of Cowboy Killers in a night. Maybe not smoke all day and then get home and just suck it up. So I let stress get to me. About the time that I changed my lifestyle and started focusing on my health, I tried a method that I'm finding is only unique for me, and it seems like it's so foreign to other people. I just told myself I wouldn't allow it anymore. I wouldn't allow stress. I wouldn't allow worry. And to a large extent, you might say, well, it's easy to say that, but to a large extent, it has worked. I mean, you have to almost catch yourself in the early stages when you feel yourself getting worked up about something. Now, how do I say this? Because I don't want to step on any toes, because some people out there do go through very, very serious situations, and they have other people dependent on them, which is a little bit different than just being, a single person for yourself. But here's the point I want to make. And then I'm going to read a little bit of all the different things that stress breaks down in our body. Here's the thing, though. No matter how bad or what's happening to you, you can't necessarily control that. You can only control your reaction to it, and you can only control what you will let come in your body and what will come out of your body, what stress you'll let come in your body, and how you will manifest that stress. Now, probably the worst thing that I've had to deal with since I've been living the raw vegan lifestyle and I've been focused on my health is when I got locked up, a year and a half ago, a year and a half ago down in Panama. And it wasn't, like I say, that's not the focus of the story today. It wasn't a terrible situation. I was in immigration. I wasn't in no little jail or prison, but it wasn't a fun place. But in a lot of ways it was. It was a big experience for me. But the minute I got in there, it was just like, or the minute I got popped before I even got to where I was going to be staying for my vacation, I told myself, I just surrendered. I surrendered everything. I said, I have no control in this situation. Whatever happens, I can't do anything about it. The only thing that I have any control over is how I react to it and how I let it affect me. And that was where I had this huge epiphany on how things were. And I think I've told this story before, but just to give you a little bit of an example, when I got in there, I met people, and I stayed like that. Yeah, everybody. I mean, you can't be a being of light all the time. Yeah, there were times I got down a little bit in there, got a little bit stressed out, but I mostly pretty much did really well. I just wouldn't let I let everything go. If something would happen, I just had to catch myself. As soon as stress would start creeping in, I had to catch myself and say, that's not going to do any good. Any of you that are young enough or old enough to remember the original Star Trek, there was Spock on there. And sometimes I feel like Spock, really, he was half Vulcan, half human. So he had a little bit of emotion, but he didn't understand the full range of human emotion. And I like to look at things with logic. If you're in a bad situation, and some of you might say, well, you don't know my situation. No, I don't, but I don't care how bad your situation is. You look to solve the problem. falling apart, being, oh God, I'm stressed, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm going to the bar, I'm going to get a drink, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to solve anything. It's not going to get you, if being in this state of stress is right here, it's not going to get you up to here. Just isn't going to happen. You can argue with me all you want to, but that is not going to get you out of the situation. What might get you out of the situation, or might make it bearable enough to deal with the situation until you can get out of the situation, is to just surrender. Just surrender. Be very logical, and don't let your mind be confused by that emotion. Use your mind. Put your mind to work to see how you can make this situation better, instead of just letting the stress, just get to you and eat you up. I've always known how stress can cause problems physically, but I just wanted to look up and see more, like, things I haven't thought about. And some of the, we all know we can have problems with blood pressure, or there's ulcers, there's different things like that. But there's a lot. It affects the bodies in a lot of different ways. It affects the musculoskeletal system. When the body is stressed, muscles tense up. Muscle tension is almost a reflex reaction to stress, the body's way of guarding against injury and pain. And these can lead to chronic painful conditions. This is the kind of thing that leads to like headaches and stress-related disorders, and things that will put us in a chronic painful state. It affects the I'm not going to go through and read too much of this, because you can look up the specific things, but it's causing a multitude of problems for you. Stress can make you breathe harder. That's not a problem for most people, but for those with asthma or a lung disease such as emphysema, getting the oxygen you need to breathe easier can be difficult. And some studies show that an acute stress, such as the death of a loved one, can actually trigger asthma attacks in which the airway between the nose and the lungs constricts. The cardiovascular system, the heart and the blood vessels, comprise the two elements of the cardiovascular system that work together in providing nourishment and oxygen to the organs of the body. The activity of these two elements is also coordinated in the body's response to stress. Acute stress, stress that is momentary or short-term, such as meeting deadlines, being stuck in traffic, or suddenly slamming on the brakes to avoid an accident, causes an increase in heart rate and stronger contractions of the heart muscle. With the stress hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol acting as messengers for these effects. In addition, the blood vessels that direct blood to the large muscles in the heart dilate, thereby increasing the amount of blood pumped to these parts of the body and elevating blood pressure. This is also known as the flight or fight response. Once the acute stress episode is passed, the body returns to its normal state. Chronic stress, or a constant stress experienced over a prolonged period of time, can contribute to long-term problems for heart and blood vessels. Long-term problems. The consistent and ongoing increase in heart rate and the elevated levels of stress hormones and of blood pressure can take a toll on the body. The long-term ongoing stress can increase the risk for hypertension, heart attack, or stroke. It affects the endocrine system. When the body is stressed, the hypothalamus signals the autonomic nervous system in the pituitary gland, and the process has started to produce epinephrine and cortisol, sometimes called the stress hormone. It affects the adrenal gland. Stress signals from the hypothalamus cause the adrenal cortex to produce cortisol and the adrenal medulla to produce epinephrine. This starts the process that gives your body the energy to run from danger. But it's also going to affect your kidneys over a period of time. It's going to affect your adrenals over a period of time. I got kidneys on the brain from earlier today. And I'll go down just a little bit more. It affects the liver. When cortisol and epinephrine are released, the liver produces more glucose, a blood sugar that would give you the energy for fight or flight in an emergency. But the glucose, from what I understand, we don't necessarily want our glucose level higher. I'll be honest with you, I need to learn a lot more about blood sugar and how it works. I know sugar is good, but I know there's different processes in the body that I don't really understand, to be honest with you. I keep it simple with me. A lot of gastrointestinal problems from stress, dealing with the esophagus. When you're stressed, you eat much more food than you usually do. It can lead to heartburn, acid reflux. Of course, the stomach. When you're stressed, your brain becomes more alert to sensations in your stomach, leading to nausea or pain. You can develop ulcers with chronic stress. The bowels, the nervous system, the reproductive system, both the male and female reproductive system, sexual desire even. So, I mean, stress is just a killer all across the board. And that's just got to be part of your health care. And when I say health care, you know, the average American uses health care in a different way. It's all tied up in insurance and whatever. But you're responsible for your health care. And it's not all about one thing. It's not all about the food. You've got to be coming at it from every angle. And you're really just not helping yourself if you're not coming at it. You've got to get the nutrition right. You've got to have plenty of water. You've got to have a way of dealing with stress or not letting it in the first place. You've got to have something for the physical, you know, exercise. But it all has to work together. And one by itself is only going to take you so far. Anyhow, just thought I would share you that this afternoon before I go back to bed again. I think I'm going to go lay down and take a little nap. It's nice to just have this no obligation lifestyle while I'm here. I don't have too many obligations anyway, but this is especially nice. Anyhow, I hope all of you have a very Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, if you were celebrating Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. If you're going to celebrate Kwanzaa, if you say Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa. Doesn't matter to me. And it doesn't matter to me when people of other faiths or beliefs or whatever say whatever. I have friends across the world. I have friends that can say Allahu Akbar. And I say Assalamu Alaikum right back. You know, it doesn't, just because we have differences, we don't have to fight about our differences and stuff. And it should always be a time for peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Anyhow, hope you guys have a wonderful week. Hope you have a wonderful time with your families, and I hope you consider me one of your families, because I consider you part of mine, and I love all of you guys. Peace.